PWHL Minnesota gets their first win of the series as Toronto loses Natalie Spooner to injury. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the PWHL. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Mike Ganter of the Toronto Sun. And Mike, after shutting out PWHL Minnesota in the first two games of the series, Toronto suffering a 2-0 defeat in Game 3 as Minnesota forces a Game 4 on Wednesday night. What went wrong for Toronto in this one?
Well, really, it was the start. I mean, they were so bad in that first period. I mean, Troy Ryan referenced it. He's not sure he's seen them as bad as that in a period all year, and I can concur. I mean, I've seen all their games, and that first period was just awful. They didn't come out. They didn't look like themselves. They didn't. They weren't on the forecheck. They weren't hitting. Everything was reactive, and that's not the way this team plays. They're proactive. They take the fight to the other team, and on this one, everything was reactive. I mean, you've got to give, and I know Troy and Blair and Jocelyn talked. Blair Turnbull and Jocelyn LaRock talked after the game. They didn't. It's not their responsibility or their job to give the other team credit, but I'll give Minnesota credit here. They took a Game 2 performance, which was a loss, but a good loss. Like, they played well, and they amped it up a little bit more, and they came out a little bit harder. So, yeah, full credit to Minnesota, but Toronto's start was just awful and put them in a hole, and it was just clawing back for the rest of the game, and Minnesota just wasn't willing to let them back in.
Well, not only did Toronto lose the game, but they also lost their MVP, Natalie Spooner, due to injury after a hit from Minnesota's Grace Zumwinkle in the third period. What did you make of the hit and the play itself?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are upset right now with the hit itself. I can't really blame Zumwinkle. I mean, Natalie's coming out of her own zone. Zumwinkle's coming towards her, and it looks like a clean hit. Their knees may have collided. Again, I mean, anybody who's deciding that someone is purposely targeting a knee is, they know far more about the game than I and most people do, apparently. But I just saw a hard hockey hit. Natalie went into the boards pretty hard. Again, there's been no indication from the team yet how severe the injury is or what the injury is. And we'll probably get something today. We'll at the very least, we'll find out later today whether she's playing tomorrow or not in Game 4. But my guess would be she's not. She was limping. She couldn't put any weight on her left leg. So that suggests to me that left knee is probably the issue here. Again, I don't want to play doctor. I'm not that smart. But she looked hurt enough that I don't think we'll see her at least for the next game. And if that's the case, then Toronto's got to adapt. It's their leading scorer. It's their as I called her this morning in a story I was working on just before I talked to you. She's Troy Ryan's get out of jail free card. I mean, she's instant offense, and she doesn't need anything. She doesn't need any help creating that offense. She can do it by herself. She can come out of the corner and score a goal by herself, win the battle in the corner, pop out, shake off a check, and score. She can come down the wing, beat a defender, score. She doesn't need anything drawn up for her. She doesn't need any play run for her. She's just that important. Having said that, this team has enough offense, even without Natalie Spooner, to win because they play on physicality and they play on their defense and they score opportune goals. So it's not out of the question that they can still come out of this, that they're leading this series 2-1. Certainly not out of the question that they move on to the final. It's just going to be a lot harder now if Natalie Spooner is not in the lineup.
Yeah, it is a massive loss, of course, for Toronto. We'll see if they can pick things up and pick up a win in game number 4 on Wednesday. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For all of Mike's PWHL coverage, head to the Toronto Sun.